Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my channel New Horizon with Einstein, where you can learn anything. So, today is 6th of August 2017, and we are going to discuss about the daily Rstv news analysis, which is especially for UPSC, SSC, all state PSC, as well as all government exams for 2017 as well as 18, presented by Vishwesh Kumar Yadav. I am from electrical and electronics background. So, let's move on the next. So, So I am a non-party man now, say Naidu. So you have already know about that M. Venkaiah Naidu will be the next Vice President of India. So he said that there is no my party or your party. Now I am not party man. Majority of political parties in India are supporting my candidature. So I am confident that they will all vote in the election, Naidu told reporters ahead of the result. So let us talk about the M. Venkaiah Naidu in details. So Venkaiah Naidu is student leader to the vice president. So the 68-year-old political veteran hails from Andhra Pradesh, Nellore district. He was born in Chevatpellam village in 1st of July 1949. Naidu was serving as a Union Minister of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation and as a Minister of Information and Broadcasting before he was chosen as the NDA nominee for the post of Vice President. So Naidu has already served as a rural development minister in the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government between September 2000 and June 2002. Naidu has been a Rajya Sabha MP for 4 consecutive terms. Naidu first came to Rajya Sabha in 1998. He was re-elected in 2004, 2010 as well as 2016. His association with politics, especially BJP, dates back to his student days in VR College in Nellore. So let us move on the next news. So UN asked US to re-engage with the Paris Climate Change Pact. So under Article 28 of the Paris Agreement, a party may withdraw at any time after 3 years from the date on which the agreement has entered into force for that party. So and such withdrawal takes effect upon expiry of 1 year from the date of receipt by the depository of notification of withdrawal. So the US accepted the Paris Agreement on September 3, 2016, and the agreement entered into the force for the US on November 4, 2016. This means that the US must stay in the pact until at least 2019. So let's move on the next news. Next news is about Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha as well as all India radio discussion summaries. So today's the cabinet recently gave an in principle note to the merger of state-owned oil and natural gas corporation, that is ONGC, and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. So a committee for the deal will soon be formed and the merger is likely to completed within this financial year. HPCL will remain listed as the subsidiary of ONGC post the merger. So Finance Minister, Road and Transport Minister and Oil Minister will be the part of merger panel. The government will ensure that there is no open offer. ONGC has sent a proposal to acquire HPCL. So the government owns 51.1% of the stake in HPCL. The deal could be valued near 28,000 crores rupees. So let's move on the next discussion. This is a reflection of government's determination to actually go ahead cautiously with the big plan that was enunciated by the finance minister of creating a global giant by bringing all the oil PSUs under one umbrella. This is a major challenge and difficult as well as because India had different companies working separately. Government will get a heavy sum as a part of its disinvestment target. So ONGC started this journey many years ago when it acquired MRPL. After this merger, it was expected that the focus of ONGC on oil and natural gas will continue because ONGC showing profit and turnover from refining does not take into account exploration. So let's move on the next discussion. So even after the present HPCL merger, the combined market cap will around $42 billion, which is far too less as compared to other foreign giants in oil and gas. So in Indian market itself is getting very liberal. BP and Reliance are heavily invested into retailing. So however, the long-term issue are complex such as how there will be synergy between the two companies operating independently. Will there be an actual merger in future date because of HR issue like differences in work culture and ethos need to be resolved? What will be the subsequent acquisition? So let's move on the next discussion. So a structure of this transaction leaves ONGC looking more like a holding company rather than a fully integrated oil and gas majors. While HPCL finances will be consolidated with ONGC, it may suffer a holding company discount. For integrated oil company, a lot depend on oil prices level and how best company are able to hedge against price movement. Though through consolidation, merger and acquisition, the central public sector enterprises can be integrated across the value chain of the industry. It will give them capacity to bear higher risk, avail economics of scale, take higher investment decision, as well as create more values for stakeholders. So, creating a large giant is easier as compared to creating an efficient and competent one. ONGC has failed in past to ramp up domestic crude and gas production due to lack of any major success in exploration production despite consistent investment. So oil companies are sitting on the large reserves and are not able to invest those reserves adequately. Government desperately needs resources for its other needs. So therefore this is an easy way of getting resources, meeting the disinvestment target and yet not confronting the more complex issue like privatizing this sector. So, what is the conclusion about this merger, ONGC as well as HPCL? So, conclusion is that this step will lead to a strengthening of public sector, which weakened during the globalization, including the ILPSUs. This is expected to reverse in the coming years. Government sees public sector as a key instrument of the economic intervention also. So, private industrial houses also leverage surplus of one business to finance diversification, growth, and expansion. So the government is doing its best toward more intelligent use of reserves as well as the management abilities of poor sector to accelerate economic growth. So let's move on the next big picture debate, that is government plans for lateral entry in higher administrative post. Its rationale and impact. What is its repercussion? What is the next? So DOPT has been asked to prepare a proper proposition on lateral entry in civil services that deal with economy and infrastructure. As per media report, the instruction have come from the Prime Minister's office to prepare a broad outline of modalities for selecting private sector executive for appointment in rank of deputy secretary, director, and joint secretary. Report suggested that the decision was taken in response to central government staffing policy paper. In the paper, DOPT has indicated a lack of officer at the middle management level. According to the report, the selection of private individual or social workers would be through a matrix of experience and qualification. So the existing salary of candidate would not be taken into account. So let's move on the next debate. So a committee headed by cabinet secretary would be responsible for the final selection. The starting estimate was around a 40 individual comprising of successful entrepreneur, academician, and social worker to be taken in through lateral entry, mainly at the joint secretary level, where there are less number of officers. So what is the rationale and what is its impact about? So after independence, there were concern about the need for socio-economic development, the demand for central planning, and need for holding the nation together. Officers who qualified civil services were considered best for this task. But in the present scenario, a combination of domain knowledge and relevant expertise is of prime importance for good governance, which is lacking in generalist nature of work given to this officer. There is a need of shift from career-based approach to a position-based approach for the government jobs. So let's move on the next. So people like Vijay Kelkar, Dr. Manmohan Singh, Montek Singh Ahluwalia were lateral interns who did great work in their respective fields. So in India, a culture of trust has been missing for a long time in government services because interest and motivation vary from person to person. Therefore, short-term entry of officer through lateral entry might lead to corrupt practices. A service tenure with some accountability and regulatory measure might lead to good outcomes. So this should not be one size fits all approach. Rather, the recruitment should be done on the case by case basis. So the government can consider hiring people from outside to the head certain pre-identified mission, mode projects and public sector entities where private sector expertise actually matters. It should be a mix up of both private sector and civil servant. So let's move on the next. It is difficult to assess the performance of secretary to the government due to complex nature of the job. It would be as difficult to measure the performance of lateral entries just like career of civil servants. However, lateral entry will address the shortfall in numbers of competent officer and will be much more target oriented. So large scale lateral entry would also lead to vote of non-confidence in government personnel management system. So it is not clear yet how lateral intent would be more performance oriented and less process compliant than the civil services. So considering that process compliance is main requirement. So this idea might also increase the gaps in policy making and implementation. The best talent can be retained only if there is reasonable assurance of reaching top level managerial posts. So what is the conclusion? So the idea of lateral induction is not new, as it has been recommended by the second Administrative Reform Commission and high-level committees appointed by different government. So the initiative should be welcomed and continue as good as and bad experiences are there for both the people in private sector as well as in government. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. Post your queries below comment section. Thank you.